I'm Matt, and this is another super exciting home inspection training video. So I'm at a house today. I'd call this a brick house, wouldn't you? Let's look closer. So on the side here in the Detroit area, this is what we call common brick. It hasn't got a glaze on it, no finish. I think they call this tree bark or something like this. Tree bark might be the color, but anyway, it's got a pattern in it. Looks like brick. It doesn't sound totally like brick. We look here at the edge. See this edge? So this is like a 1/4 inch thick brick siding. They call this brick veneer in construction, but this is a full brick. This is, you know, whatever they are, 3.5 inches wide and I don't know, about 7 inches long. This is not real brick. You see this? This was popular in the 70s. They put it inside homes, like as a kitchen backsplash on a sink, on a countertop. There's one that's cracked. I called real brick, you know, I stopped doing this, but I called this brick veneer. That's what it's called in construction. I call it brick veneer inspection report one time, and the owner of the house called me and said, it's not brick veneer, it's real brick. So, you know, there's a little nuance there that you need to learn if you're a new home inspector. So a little story about this, not this house, but like 15 years ago, I did a house and it had this kind of siding on it, this 1/4 inch thick fake brick, whatever you want to call it, brick siding. And I called it brick in my report, and it was in perfect condition. There was nothing wrong with it. So guy buys the house. You know, he was a crybaby, okay? The guy was a crybaby. And calls me and says, oh, it's not real brick. It's, you know, I go, you know, well, it's all brick veneer. I mean, you could peel the brick off of any brick home. Well, almost any brick home. And it's not structural. So it is a veneer. It's a siding. Brick is a siding in 99% of residential homes. Once in a while you get a solid brick building. Mostly it's commercial, but there's some houses around Detroit like that. Some garages too, in old neighborhoods like Indian Village. So, you know, that same guy that was crying about the brick, you know, I didn't do anything about it. I go, you know, whatever. But the same guy, I said his roof was marginal in my report, and all my reports say anything marginal and defective in this report should be reviewed by a qualified contractor for further evaluation and cost of repairs. So he didn't do that. Roof was marginal, and there was nothing wrong with the roof. Okay, he could have got 5, 6, 7 more years out of that roof, but it was, you know, it was starting to look a little sketchy. And so he buys the house, moves in, guts the inside of the house. And, you know, a family lived there. It wasn't like it was a disaster or anything. A family lived in the house, and so he guts the inside of the house. I know this because I went over there. And one of his contractors tells him he needs a roof, so he had him put a roof on. So he gave this guy half down for the roof. I think it was $4,000 back then. And so the guy starts tearing it off. And I said there was 2 layers on it. Turned out there was 3 layers on it, so you got to watch yourself. So he wanted me to pay for half the roof because I was wrong about the number of layers. And I was like, no, thank you. And so I actually called the city. It was called Hamtramck. It's a city within Detroit. It's surrounded by Detroit. It's called Hamtramck. And so I called the city and says, did this guy pull a permit to put a roof on this house? And they said, yeah. I go, what's the contractor's name? So they gave me the contractor's name. And I Googled it, and I called him. And he goes, yeah, that guy, it was an $8,000 job. He gave me $4,000 down, and I subbed it out and to some illegals, he said. and that's what they charged me, and the guy wouldn't pay me the rest of the money, and he wouldn't let us. He said there was something wrong with the roof, and he wouldn't let us back on the property to see what was wrong. He wouldn't let the city on the property to inspect the roof because he'd pulled a permit, and they wouldn't come and do their inspection. So this guy wanted to take me to arbitration over the roof. So he didn't know I knew all this, so we scheduled an arbitration date, and the day before he canceled, you know, I thought I was going to go to the arbitration and be Johnny Cochran and say, you know, if it does not fit, you must acquit. I was gonna say, you only paid $4,000 for the roof. I said it was marginal. You're supposed to get it looked at by a roofer before you bought it, and you didn't do that. So you bought the house, tore the roof off, which you didn't need to do that right away. And now you want me to pay for all of the roof, basically, because you only paid half of it. You didn't pay the contractor the other half. And if I didn't mention it, the contractor also told me, he says, I'm not even going to go after the guy for the other $4,000 because I subbed it out and the job is done, and he's a pain in the ass, and we're just moving on. So I would have put a lien on the house, but that's just me. And that's it. That's my story on the brick and the roof. So watch out for this brick veneer, you guys. This brick coat, whatever you want to call it. Oh, there's another place over here. Let me show you one more spot. This is what first caught my eye. This loose piece right here. So you can see it's about 1/4 inch thick. They mudded on the back. This has got some wire in the mortar on the back. That's what they stick it on with, grout or mortar, whatever you want to call it. So watch out for this, you guys. I thought at first they just redone this porch because it had some damage, but apparently the whole front of the house is like that, but not the sides. So I don't know what was on the front of this house. It's weird. It might have been vinyl siding, the brick on the side. Usually they do the opposite though, right? They do brick on the front and vinyl on the side and the back. Let me just show you the rest real quick on the back side here. There is some vinyl on the back, like that. We call that a bump out here. So it cantilevers over the foundation wall a little bit. So, but yeah, this is what we call common brick. And one of the telltale signs that you've got that thin brick is sometimes the window ledges will be different. This one is not for some reason. They could have just bricked over the common brick because it's a little nicer looking brick. They could have just bricked over brick. That is entirely possible. Here it doesn't overlap like on the other side. Got a nice joint here for water to get in. Anyway, that's it. Watch out for the brick, guys. Thanks for watching, and like and subscribe if you love my exciting home inspection videos.